Welcome back to Why Walking Matters, the Science Explained. I'm Tatiana, your host. Last week, we explored the science of walking to music. We looked at research showing that music can influence our walking speed, shape our mood, reduce perceived exertion, and even change how we experience a walk. Some studies found that upbeat music encourages a faster pace, while others showed that music can make walking feel easier and more enjoyable. That episode raised an interesting question. If what we listen to can affect our walking experience, what about where we walk? Have you ever noticed that a walk along a beach, beside a river, around a lake, or on a waterfront promenade feels different from walking down a busy city street? Maybe you feel calmer. Maybe your mind seems quieter. Maybe you return home feeling refreshed in a way that's hard to explain. It turns out researchers have been asking the same question. Scientists use the term blue space to describe environments where water is a prominent feature: oceans, lakes, rivers, canals, and waterfronts. Over the past decade, a growing body of research has found that spending time near water may have unique benefits for mood, stress reduction, mental restoration, and overall well being. And for those of you who listened to my episode on mindful walking and walking as meditation a while back, you'll hear some familiar themes today. Many researchers believe water naturally encourages the kind of present moment awareness that mindful walking aims to cultivate. So today, we're diving into the science of walking near water. What does the research say? Why are so many people drawn to rivers, lakes, beaches, and coastlines when they walk? And could choosing a waterside route make your next walk even more beneficial? Let's find out. So, researchers use the term blue space to describe visible water environments, such as oceans, beaches, lakes, rivers, streams, canals, waterfronts, reservoirs, even. For years, scientists focused primarily on the benefits of green spaces like parks and forests. But more recently, researchers have begun investigating whether water offers something unique. A major review of the evidence found growing support for links between blue spaces and improved health, well being, and physical activity. The paper, Blue Space, Health, and Well-Being, a narrative overview and synthesis of potential benefits by White et al. 2020, is a broad review of research on how being near water may improve human health and well-being. The authors reviewed research from multiple disciplines, including environmental psychology, public health, epidemiology, recreation and leisure studies, environmental science, and urban planning. They examined studies involving various blue spaces, then synthesized their findings into a theoretical framework linking blue space exposure to health outcomes through several pathways: physical activity, stress reduction, social interaction, nature connectedness, and environmental quality. A note about the strengths and limitations of this strategy. The researchers were able to integrate evidence from many different fields, which was useful for developing theories and identifying pathways, and for providing a comprehensive framework for future research. However, this strategy is more susceptible to author interpretation than a systematic review. This strategy also doesn't weigh studies according to quality and can't determine the exact size of the health effects. It also cannot establish causation. So, this wasn't a study where researchers sent people to walk beside a lake and measured what happened. Instead, it was a review paper. The authors gathered findings from dozens of studies on beaches, rivers, lakes, and other water environments, then built a model showing the different ways being near water might improve health, from reducing stress and encouraging walking to helping people feel more connected to nature. So, what did they find? Blue spaces may improve mental health. The strongest evidence was for psychological benefits. People who spend time near water often reported lower stress, better mood, greater feelings of relaxation, improved overall well being, and higher life satisfaction. Water environments may also encourage physical activity. Blue spaces often attract people to walk, hike, cycle, swim, or participate in recreational activities. And the health benefits may come partly from the activity itself and partly from the environment where the activity occurs. They also found that blue spaces can promote social connection. Waterfronts, beaches, and lake shores often act as gathering places, helping people to spend time with family and friends, to meet others in the community, and to feel less socially isolated. Social connection is itself associated with better physical and mental health. They found that blue spaces may strengthen nature connectedness. The authors highlight the idea that people can develop a deeper sense of connection with nature when spending time near water. This feeling is linked to greater happiness, better mental health, and more environmentally responsible behavior. The benefits they found may extend beyond the individual. The paper argues that healthy aquatic environments can improve community well being by supporting biodiversity, enhancing local environments, creating attractive public spaces, and encouraging environmental stewardship. The authors concluded that walking in blue spaces appears to provide additional psychological benefits compared with walking in typical urban environments. Interestingly, a related randomized study discussed in the research found that repeated 20-minute walks in a blue space setting improved mood and well being more than similar walks in urban settings, although cardiovascular measures did not differ significantly. In that study, a sample of 59 healthy adult office workers was randomly assigned to a different environment on 4 days each week for 3 weeks: blue space, urban space, and a control site. For 20 minutes per day, they either walked along a blue or an urban space or rested at a control site. Before, during, and or after the exposure, the researchers measured self-reported well-being and mood, blood pressure, and heart rate variability parameters. For well-being, They also assessed the duration of these potential effects over time, at least 4 hours after exposure. The researchers found significantly improved well being and mood responses immediately after walking in the blue space compared with walking in the urban space or when resting in the control site. Cardiovascular responses showed increased activity of the sympathetic nervous system both during and after walking along the blue and urban spaces. However, cardiovascular responses measured after the walks showed no statistically significant differences between the blue and the urban space environments. The takeaway: walking is good for you almost anywhere, but the research suggests that when you add water, you may get an extra boost for your mood and sense of well being. And one theory is that water captures our attention in a gentle way. Unlike a busy street demanding constant focus, waves, ripples, and reflections engage the mind without overwhelming it. Researchers sometimes call this soft fascination, a state that may help mental fatigue recover. Scientists don't have all the answers yet, but several theories have emerged. First, the sound effect. Moving water creates natural soundscapes that can mask traffic noise and other stress inducing sounds. Waves, flowing streams, and gentle water movement provide a form of sensory input that many people find calming. Then the visual effect. Water is constantly changing. Unlike a building that looks the same every day, water reflects light differently by the minute. Waves move, ripples form, clouds mirror across the surface. Researchers believe these subtle changes keep our attention engaged while allowing the brain to rest from more demanding forms of focus. And finally, the awe effect. Water environments often create feelings of wonder, perspective, and connection to something larger than ourselves. Researchers increasingly suspect that these experiences contribute to the restorative effects many people report. And the benefits may extend beyond a single walk. Studies have found associations between greater exposure to blue spaces and better mental health outcomes. Research involving older adults found that neighborhood exposure to water was linked to improved mental health through pathways such as stress reduction and increased opportunities for social connection. From the abstract, within the urban setting, blue space refers to all visible surface waters, including lakes, rivers, and coastal waters. Exposure to the natural environment, especially blue space, has been consistently linked to better mental health. While previous studies have disentangled the positive relationship between neighborhood blue space and mental health, scant attention has been paid to pathways through which neighborhood blue space affects mental health among Chinese urban elderly individuals. Based on questionnaire data collected from Guangzhou in 2018, remote sensing images, streetscapes, and other such sources, we extracted various blue space indicators. According to this empirical analysis, firstly, neighborhood exposure to blue space was significantly associated with elderly individuals' mental health. Secondly, environmental harm reduction, stress reduction, and social contact facilitation played a separate role in mediating the effect of blue space exposure on elderly individuals' mental health. These findings confirm the mediation pathways in the context of Chinese cities. Our research enriches the empirical research on blue space and public health from the perspective of health geography and suggests the need for healthy neighborhood and health aging planning in Chinese settings. So, in this research, researchers surveyed 966 older adults in Guangzhou, China, then used satellite imagery, street view data, and mapping technology to measure how much water was present around their neighborhoods. They analyzed whether people living near more blue space reported better mental health on surveys and tested whether reduced stress, lower environmental harms, greater social connection, and increased physical activity explained the relationship. Stress reduction and social connection mattered. Surprisingly, physical activity did not. That's an interesting finding because it suggests that some of the mental health benefits of being near water may come from the environment itself, not just from getting more exercise. So, simply living near water may not be enough. Researchers increasingly believe that actually spending time in these environments by walking, sitting, observing, or engaging with them is what drives many of the benefits. This brings us back to the episode on mindful walking. Mindful walking asks us to notice the sensation of our feet touching the ground, our breathing, the sounds around us, and the sights we might otherwise overlook. Walking near water naturally invites that kind of awareness. You don't need to meditate while you walk. Simply bring a little more attention to what's already happening around you. As you walk near water, try noticing the sound of waves, flowing water, or gentle ripples, the reflections dancing across the surface, the movement of birds, boats, or floating leaves, the feeling of the breeze coming off the water, the rhythm of your footsteps alongside the rhythm of the water. When your mind wanders, as it naturally will, gently bring your attention back to one thing you can see, hear, or feel. You might notice that water makes this easier. Researchers believe one reason blue spaces feel restorative is that they naturally draw our attention without demanding it. The environment does some of the work for us. Think of it as a simple recipe. Walking provides the movement, blue space provides the setting, mindfulness provides the attention. Together, they can turn an ordinary walk into something that feels a little more restorative, a little more calming, and perhaps a little more memorable. By now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but I don't live near the ocean. The good news is that blue space doesn't have to mean a beach vacation. Blue space is defined broadly: rivers and river walks, lakes and ponds, reservoirs, canals, streams, waterfront parks, even urban water features. The goal isn't to completely replace your regular walks. Instead, consider whether you can occasionally incorporate water into your routine. Maybe one walk a week takes place along a river instead of your usual neighborhood route. Maybe you drive 10 minutes further on a weekend to walk around a lake. Maybe your lunch break walk includes a path that follows a stream or waterfront. Because the research suggests that even relatively short exposures to blue spaces can support mood and feelings of restoration. In other words, you don't need to spend hours at the beach to experience the potential benefits. And if you're fortunate enough to already have water nearby, this might be your reminder to take advantage of it. Oh, listeners, I love when we learn something new. And as we've learned today, where you walk can matter almost as much as the walk itself. Whether it's the sound of waves along a shoreline, the gentle movement of a river, or the stillness of a lakeside path, blue spaces seem to offer something special. The research suggests that they can help restore our attention, improve our mood, and make our walks feel more refreshing and restorative. Of course, not every walk can happen beside the water, and that's okay. The most important walk is still the one you take. But if you have the opportunity to add a little blue space to your routine, even occasionally, it may be worth seeking out. And perhaps the next time you find yourself near a river, lake, stream, or beach, give yourself permission to slow down a little. Notice the sights, the sounds, and the sensations around you. Let the water hold some of your attention while your feet carry you forward. Thanks for joining me today on Season 2, Episode 3 of Why Walking Matters, The Science Explained. Remember, you can share topics and ideas for the podcast at whywalkingmatters.com and your walking stories. And you can check out my walking adventures on my Instagram page, why_walking_matters. And I forgot to say, if you're a new listener, welcome. And if you're a loyal listener, welcome back. Until next time, wherever your path takes you, keep walking, keep exploring, and keep discovering why walking matters.